everyone. The Toronto Maple Leafs are getting ready for a Monday night matchup here at Scotiabank Arena, playing the New York Islanders for the second time this season. And it is the start of a very busy week for the blue and white. This is the first of 4 games between now and Sunday, all of them here at Scotiabank Arena. So a great week to be a Leafs fan in Toronto. Hello everyone, welcome to Live from Morning Skate, presented by our friends at FanDuel. I'm Jacqueline Doorey. Becky Kellar, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well, thank you. How are you?
I am great. How was your weekend?
It was great. I'd like to say restful, but it was pretty busy. Lots of hockey, always hockey.
You were just counting down the minutes till Live from Morning Skate.
Absolutely.
I know I was, and we're in different sides today. You're a left winger on the right side. I don't know.
Lefty, but I can be versatile enough to play my offside, so it should be all right.
I don't know about me. Chaos may ensue, but we'll see what happens. We have a lot to talk about tonight. We're going to break down the Islanders-Leafs matchup, of course. I want to talk about the effects of a long home stretch that the Leafs are now officially in. And, of course, a little bit about Saturday's game versus Montreal. So let's start there. A tough overtime loss for the Leafs, 3-2 to the Habs at the Bell Centre in Montreal. But you know what? After a really dominant first period, Mark Giordano scoring literally in the first minute of play. That is the first time that's ever happened in his career. And then Kellar followed that up with a goal, I think about 15 or 16 minutes later. So a dominant 2-0 lead going into the second period. But shortly after that, Josh Anderson scored for the Habs, which seemed to change the momentum. But Becky, what did you see?
Well, I think you're right. It was a dominant first period. They outshot them 15-4, 2 goals. They're looking good, and then they come back in the second and completely flip the script. Outshot, outplayed by Montreal. Third period was good, but I think the takeaway is you have to play 60 minutes in this league in order to be successful. I think my second takeaway of that game was the play of Samsonov.
Was he good?
He's been stellar in the last 3 starts. Well, two starts and coming in the second period in the one game. So I think he has been outstanding, something they can definitely build on.
Yeah, and a highlight for me, I got to talk about it again, was that Giordano goal. Literally the first shot on net the Leafs had in the entire game, converted to a goal. You don't see that very often. And actually, that was Giordano's second goal and 3rd point in his last 5 games. So can we talk a little bit, Becky, about what Giordano's been bringing to the table this season?
Like, he's been spectacular all year. Love Giordano, and not just because he's playing as a 39-year-old. I ended my career at 35, the oldest player on the team, so I can understand how difficult it can be. It is hard to recover and to play a full season when you start to get up into your 30s. So I got to appreciate that part of him. He has been spectacular all year, very steady, very smart player. You know what you're going to get from him. What I love too is his ability and willingness to get into shot lane. He leads this team with 92 blocked shots, so you can always count on him to do literally everything it takes in order to help this team win.
Yeah, that consistency is invaluable. The Leafs are lucky to have Giordano. All right, let's talk a little bit about this schedule, because the league's entering the dog days of this season, and we've mentioned many times on Live from Morning Skate that January is a busy month for the Leafs. They've got 4 games this week alone, and they're entering into a 5 home game stretch going into the All-Star weekend. So that's a couple weeks without having to get on a plane. Is there any opportunity there, Becky?
Yeah, the opportunity is for rest. And it's funny as an athlete, sometimes you're home for long stretches and you think there's all sorts of things that you want to do, that you can do, spend time with family, but you do need to be accountable to your rest. So making sure that they're getting the appropriate amount of rest in this time is really important. The home stretch, and then of course the All-Star break. And then the other one is just taking advantage of the fact that you're at home for 4 games. This is a team that has been very good at home. 17-3-4, home record, 3rd in the league, just under Boston and Tampa. So this is a real opportunity for them to put up some points.
Yeah. Well, let's take a look at what's happening on the ice. We are spoiled today. It is a full practice because the Leafs had an off day yesterday. As per usual, Nylander was the first on the ice, and you noticed someone was back, didn't you?
Yeah, Pontus Holmberg, who was loaned back to the Marlies. He went on a road trip with the Marlies, was there for a few games. He's back on the ice with the Leafs tonight. No confirmation yet whether or not he's in the lineup, but he is back and skating for the ice.
Good to see him. And then I think we can also see Matt Murray in the starter goaltender's net. You know, he hasn't had the start in the last 2 games, so he'll be looking to have a good night tonight at home, because we know Coach Sheldon Keefe did want him to get more starts on home ice. Yeah. So let's move on to the FanDuel first goal of the game, our favorite segment of this show where we guess which Leaf will get on the scoreboard first. Would you like to do the honors?
I will. I'm going to go with John Tavares tonight. He's had a couple quiet nights. He hasn't been on the score sheet in the last 2. But prior to that, he was on a 7-game point streak, 5 goals and 6 assists. So he was on fire for a good stretch of time. He also scored the first goal the last time these two teams met. And you know he gets hungry to go out and have a good performance against his former team.
Definitely. I am going to go with Mr. Mitch Marner. His goal in last week's win over the Jets put his home ice point streak to 20 straight games. He now holds the franchise record. He is on a tear, and I think that will continue tonight here at Scotiabank Arena. And I think he'll get the first goal of the game. So let's see what happens. You're beating me in this game, Becky.
I'm currently winning. I've got a 2-1 to 0 going on, but I'm feeling a little bit for Mitch Marner as well, and I think he's got the home point streak. I think he's going to look to extend it, so tonight might be his night as well.
Yeah, you're leading this. Scotty Willits is in second place, and then Jacqueline Doorey's coming up in third. But you know what? This might be my game. I think Mitch Marner's going to get me on the board tonight. All right, let's dive deeper into this Leafs-Islanders matchup because the Islanders are coming into this game off of a 5-2 loss to the Carolina Hurricanes. But you know what? We haven't seen these two teams match up against each other since late November. And it was a 3-2 loss for the Leafs in overtime. Becky, what do you remember about that game?
Just the fact that the Leafs had the lead going into the third period, gave up the lead, and then a tough overtime, and they were kind of having some struggles with overtimes then. Been better lately, but definitely I think a game that could be very different tonight. We're looking at a different Islanders team than what we saw back in November.
Yeah, new night, new game, new opportunities, and you know, a bit of a different Islanders team than I think we saw 2 months ago. They've been having some trouble stringing together some wins lately, entering this game on a 4-game losing streak, and in their 11 games since the new year, they've only managed to put up 2 wins. So, Becky, how do you think these teams match up now, 2 months later?
Well, I think the big thing for the Islanders is their lack of offensive production. And you look at a guy like Matt Barzal, he's their leading scorer, but he's been on a 7-game drought, no points in 7 games. They've tried him on various different lines, trying to get things shored up. But he's having a bit of a struggle this season. Even early in the season, we saw that where he was putting up points but couldn't get himself in the goal column. So I think for the Leafs, you're looking at a team that hasn't been offensively very good. You don't want to give them anything. Try to be stingy defensively.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up Barzal because I actually read on Twitter, Stefan Rosner, who is a Islanders beat reporter, mentioned that he has played on 12 different lines this season, and in the last 6 games alone has been on 4 different lines without registering any points, which is notable because he leads the team in points with 41. So, Becky, how do you prepare against a team that is seemingly in flux like these Islanders are?
Well, like I said, if you've got a team that is struggling to score, you don't want to give them anything offensively. You want to make them earn it. This is a team that has been frustrated throughout the season, specifically in March. So if you can be stingy, take away time and space, continue to frustrate them, make them take penalties because they're already on edge. They're already frustrated.
One thing the Leafs can expect is great goaltending in the likes of All-Star Ilya Sorokin. He is sitting at a 2-point, I believe, 3.7. Yes, 3.7 average goals against and a 9.24 save percentage. And he's also seen 3 shutouts this season. But even though he has such great numbers, his record is suggesting he's not really getting the help he needs from his team. He's sitting at 15, 15, and 4. So, Becky, what will be the key to converting against a talent like Sorokin?
Well, the Leafs have seen this over the last little bit. You know, they've faced Boston and Hallmark, and so they've seen strong goaltending. The key with when you're facing a strong goaltender is you've got to get traffic to the net. You want to get guys driving the net off the rush. You want to get traffic in front of him, take away his eyes, screens and tips and rebounds to make life difficult on him because he is a guy that's going to likely make the first save. He's probably what I would consider the strength of this team. You can expect that again here tonight.
Well, and if the Islanders' defense isn't clicking on 5-on-5, they definitely are on the PK, ranked 5th in the league. So what will the Leafs' power play have to do to be effective tonight?
And this is a penalty kill that has been very strong all season. They went 28 kills in a row to start the season for a franchise record. So they've been strong all year, but we've seen the Leafs convert against strong penalty kills. They did it against Boston just the other night. Boston's got the #1 kill in the league. Some of the things the Leafs do very well when their power play is connecting is just a quick puck movement, trying to get the box stretched out of shape to open things up for the shot lane. So, and of course, face-off wins when you're on the power play. You win the face-off on the power play, you don't have to worry about some entries. You start with possession of the puck, so that would be the other key for them. Win the face-off initially on the power play.
We will see how that all plays out tonight. We've talked about a lot, but if you had to narrow down one key to a Leafs win tonight, what would it be?
Play 60 minutes. We saw this against Montreal. Montreal's not a strong team. They're in flux. They've got tons of injuries, but 40 minutes does not cut it in this league. You need to put together 60 minutes.
Well, and no doubt the guys will be looking to do that tonight. A busy week, like I mentioned earlier. We are talking games Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. It is a great week to be a Leaf fan. We're going to be busy, that's for sure.
Love it. Hockey all week.
Hockey all week. Doesn't get better than that. The fun starts tonight as the Toronto Maple Leafs take on the New York Islanders. Puck drop is at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and you can watch the game on Sportsnet or listen with Joe and Jim on the Fan 590. And that is all from us today. Thank you guys for watching. Enjoy the game tonight. I'm Jacqueline Doorey.
Becky Kellar.
We will see you next time. Go Leafs!